I love my dad, and I wanted to be the best, like, son that I could be, the best, like, whatever I could be for him. Oh, well, the police just came to our house and took your dad away. And I was like, what the crap? And then the news, just like in Utah County, especially, it's a big deal. My dad was a known commodity, and it was just like an onslaught.
Bruce, what was it like being abused sexually by your father most of your childhood?
I don't even know. Like, I think that's all I knew my life, and it was like a relationship that I had with my dad. I thought it was the best father relationship you could actually ever have. Because I think everybody that has a dad wants to live up to their dad, like, and that was one of my relationships with my dad. And I think I didn't realize, obviously, when I was a kid, now looking back on it, that I just missed out on so many things and what life really was supposed to be like as a kid, and not have the pressure that I did have. There was 20 counts that he went to prison for, not just for me, just for other kids, and sodomy, everything you can think of. Um, and just like, I mean, yeah, pretty much everything you can think of. That's what happens, you know? So I married my wife, Alexa, and I wrote a book, and he couldn't finish the book. He got like through the first 9 chapters and basically summed it up. He just said, like, dude, I was reading that, and I had 2 daughters. I never had a son. He's all, you just read the book and you could just tell you just wanted your dad to love you so damn much. And as a father, he was like, what could you ever ask for? That you literally had your son that loved you so much, and how could he do that to you? Like, to you, how could he do that? I don't know life of not going through that. I don't know what life is like that.
Bruce Pitcher, welcome to the Roller Coaster Podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's cool. I'm actually really honored to be here. Seriously.
Well, I'm honored to have you. I've tracked your story through a mutual friend, Heidi, for
Yeah.
years. I've seen you out there for years, but I've never really known your story. And I was with her a few days ago in the studio, and she said, you've got to have my friend Bruce on. So I'm happy that we're here doing it.
Yeah.
Bruce, what was it like being abused sexually by your father most of your childhood?
I don't even know. Like, I think that's all I knew my life, and it was like a relationship that I had with my dad. I thought it was the best father relationship you could actually ever have. Because I think everybody that has a dad wants to live up to their dad, like, and that was one of my relationships with my dad. Like, I loved my dad, and I wanted to be the best, like, son that I could be, the best, like, whatever I could be for him. He coached all of our sports teams, and I wanted to be the best football player that I could be. I wanted to be the best, just showing up all the time for him. And, and I think I didn't realize, obviously, when I was a kid, now looking back on it, that I just missed out on so many things and what life really was supposed to be like as a kid, and not have the pressure of the pressure that I did have, to live up to that billing of, like, I mean, not to, like, dive into it, but it's like, so I married my wife, Alexa, and I wrote a book. Man, I can't believe I'm getting emotional this early. And he couldn't finish the book. He got like through the first 9 chapters and basically summed it up. He just said, like, dude, I was reading that, and I had 2 daughters. I never had a son. He's all, you just read the book and you could just tell you just wanted your dad to love you so damn much. And as a father, he was like, what could you ever ask for? That you literally had your son that loved you so much, and how could he do that to you? Like, to you, how could he do that? And so that's kind of what it was, all what it was kind of like, I don't know what it would have been. I don't know life of not going through that. I don't know what life is like that. And so that's basically what it boils down to for me.
When you say sexually abused, what do you mean? What are we talking about here?
Pretty much everything you can think of. There was 20 counts that he went to prison for, not just for me, just for other kids, and sodomy, everything you can think of. Um, and just like, I mean, yeah, pretty much everything you can think of. That's what happens,
Yeah. At some point, he gets caught. What happened?
So I was in sophomore year in high school, and come to find out, I had a track record of kind of getting caught here or there, believe it or not. You can look at his track record, and there's different times where he got accused. He finally ultimately got caught. So I was a sophomore in high school. I was in PE class, just enjoying typical PE. I got called down to the office. They said, "Officer, I can't remember his name. Officer is here to talk to you." Comes around the corner, and he just says, like, "Hey, you want to take a ride with me?" And I was like, "Oh." Back then, I was like, "Is this like ride with the cop day?" Like, "Sure, dude, let's go." Like, so I'm like, and I'm a little nervous, and at first I'm kind of like, "What are we doing?" And so we like walk into his car, and we get in there. We're driving. He's just talking to me, small chat. And then we drive down to South Provo in Utah, and we drive in this normal neighborhood. And the only difference with this neighborhood and this house is it just had, instead of having a grass as its like yard, it had a parking lot, but it looked like a completely normal house. But to come to find out now, it's a forensics house where they take kids, that might have been through abuse or been through kind of some kind of trauma, so they feel like safe, I guess. So it's kind of like, so then you walk in, you literally walk into a bedroom, like with just like a couch, and there's like a table there and like some stuffed animals in the corner. And I'm just like, what are we doing? And I just remember I sat down on the couch, and then he just reached into his pocket, pulled out a tape recorder, put it in the center of the table, just like right here kind of thing, and hits play. And then he just goes, "Has your dad ever touched you inappropriately?" And then my life just like it was like a whirlwind. And I didn't know what to even say. So it took me forever to even reply, like, no, because I said no at that time because I loved my dad. And when you are groomed and everything else, and like looking back on now, it's so scary to say, like, how did I say no? And it's sometimes shameful. But I also feel like now where I'm at in life now, I want people to know they can be like, hey, if you said no and you didn't know what to say when you were 14, 13 years old, that's fine. Because so many people out there don't, and they carry around this like guilt and this burden that just hurts. And it's just like they don't need to. And so that all went on. He talked to me for about over and over and over, kept sticking up for my dad. Make a long story short, got to the high school. We went in there. I call home, and I'm like, "Mom, the police just came and took me." And she goes, "Oh, well, the police just came to our house and took your dad away." And I was like, "What the crap?" And so I quickly said, "Come get me." She came and got me. And then the news, just like in Utah County especially, it's a big deal. My dad was a known commodity. He was a football coach. He was always doing things with people. And it was on Fox, it was on Channel 13, Channel 5, everything, interviewing us because we lived right across the street from elementary school. And it was just like an onslaught. And then I'm like, well, I'll go to school the next day. Then I go to school, and the newspaper article is being passed around all through the school because my dad was so known at coaching football with all these other kids. And those kids, some of those kids, come to find out, were victims as well. And that's how it basically all came out, because they were at a little fun get together, and it came out with them talking to their parent, like in a group talking, a parent overheard. And that's how it happened. And then, I mean, we were targeted and bullied like no tomorrow. Somebody defecated in my backpack at school. And just like everybody just like, it was just, bullying went from like here to here as if I did something. And but lucky enough, my football coaches and football players like stepped in and really saved my life.
How does a 14 or 15-year-old boy who's been sexually abused by his father, who eventually gets taken away and thrown in prison, how do you how do you process this? I
I,
mean, what's going through your mind as he's going to jail? Like, how do you process that?
I still this day I
Or
don't
do
even
you
know.
not?
You don't. I don't think you do. I still have it like I still have it memorized the day we took him when he got completely still. It was a Spanish Fork, and to take him to the jail, the local city jail down there. I still remember the day. I still remember what I was wearing. And I still remember like what he was wearing and what that looked like, and the door closed. And I just remember looking, the movies, the cliche movies when they're driving off, they're looking out the back window. That literally is what I was doing. Like just looking out the back window, just like, what is our life about to be? And then it just turned into straight survival mode. like for our entire family, just survival mode. Like, how are we going to survive? Now we got to figure it out. And that's what happened. Cause my dad going to prison for that, no one's showing up at your doorstep to support you.
Yeah.
So
So how do you do it? I mean, how do you navigate now not having a father in the home? You've got a single mom. You've got how many kids this time?
me and my brother,
Okay, so you've got the two of you. I mean,
it
who
was,
supports you? How do you do this?
my mom did the best she could. Um, she tried to work. The school tried to support the best can. My friends, my coaches. I mean, I was at my friend's house after school till as late as I wanted. Then I'd go home. I'd eat at their house, show up. They barely helped me graduate through high school. Somehow the school pulled strings to help me graduate from high school. I mean, it literally was survival mode. I mean, it was just like, if we can make it through this day, then great. If we can make it through this day, great. We've tried to figure out how to pay bills and all kinds of things. It just, sometimes we wouldn't have hot water. Sometimes we wouldn't have food. Um, you literally had to, like, our bathroom door and stuff started to fall apart down in our basement. And you literally had to pick up the door and haul it to the area you want it to be and put it in front of the bathroom. And then my carpets all went bad downstairs. So I was sleeping on like a bed with a cement floor, but we just didn't know. And you just survive, And I mean, that's what it was. That's what it was really. And I got to give my mom and my brother credit. We don't have like the best relationship to now. Like, we don't talk all the time, but we know what we went through together. And it's just basically, we just need to all kind of let it go and try to move forward.
What do you think's happened to your relationship with your brother?
Um, I just think we just never really connected on where we wanted to go. And I think we were just all so in survival mode. We were just focused on how do we survive individually in some kind of ways. It just ruined our whole family.
Yeah.
Just like decimated it.
You ever see a world where you've got a relationship with them? Is that deep in your heart, one of your
Oh yeah, I
desires? Or
still will text my brother like every now and then. Now, granted, he hasn't met my 3-year-old kid, and I didn't know he was having twins till I saw on Facebook. But but that's okay. My mom. It's just we know. Like at the end of the day, we know. And if he needed me, I'd be there. My mom, I still talk to every now and then. But I still got to distance myself because of just everything we went through. It's just like it's just a lot. Like it's just a lot to all stand and be around and just like and move forward, And I move forward, I think, quicker than they all move forward for
yeah.
sure.
You graduate high school. How much do you weigh when you graduate high school?
I'm about probably 280
Okay.
at that point.
At some point, you make a decision that leads you down a really slippery slope to 420 pounds.
Yeah.
What was that decision?
Man, I think it's so weird because I'm not your normal like obese person. I feel like some of them like I just do the. I think I just loved food and I was appreciated to be the big dude and I was valued to be the big dude and I knew wherever I could go I was gonna pound and pound and I ate a lot of food, but it was a coping mechanism. Now it's looking back, but
Yeah.
like I was also finally accepted, right? And I always wanted my dad accepted, so I was always searching for acceptance from some kind of place,
Yeah.
and that's where I was accepted. Like I knew I was going to get the phone call if everybody's going to lunch. I knew that, like, I'm going to come in and be the jolly guy that's fun and everything else, and that's what I was. And so that's kind of, and then it just got worse and worse and worse
Yeah.
as it went along.
Yeah. I think at some point you start applying to join The Biggest Loser, and I think you end up like just getting rejected
Oh, yeah.
over and over and over. What was it about The Biggest Loser that you thought was actually going to help you?
I I I just thought, like, my friends were always like, "Bruce, you gotta get on that Biggest Loser show, dude. That would put you over the top." And I was like, I know, man, I know." Like, cause I would try, like, I would always go try or do something, and I'd last for like 2 weeks, of course, like everybody else. And they were like, "Oh," and I was trying and trying, and I just thought, like maybe this would push me over the top. Get on there, I'll show everybody that I can ultimately do this. know what to do and be in a corner because it's in me. I know it's in me. But I didn't know like what it would really do. I'm beyond blessed that I actually got selected not for Biggest Loser and Extreme Weight
Yeah.
Loss 100%. 100%. And I'm a big faith person, like huge faith person, and I just know God had a plan and I didn't know it way back then or what he had, but man, he worked miracles through me and I'm just blessed because I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for him. I wouldn't be like he created all this for me and that's literally why I thank him every day. I try to be the best that I can be every day because of that. Because I want to die someday and meet him and just say, like, dude, thank you. Like, thank you for giving me a purpose. Thank you for giving me a life that I could never imagine. And I hope the things that you gave me and the abilities you gave me, I was able to serve others for that. And that's, I mean, that's what living is literally all about. And that's what's literally, I've completely jumped to a big thing, but that's literally what I'm sure you're going to ask, like, what pushed you over the top? That's what's pushed me over the top to survive all of this. And to know you have a choice to play the victim card or not card. And God doesn't give you anything that you can't handle. And I knew he was going to sooner or later bless my life. And he sure did. I got the greatest friends. I got the greatest people. I got the greatest, like, I got more passion than anybody on the face of the planet. Like, I got the LeBron James, Michael Jordan. That's what I would say, passion. And that's what I'm going to bring. And he gave me a chance to show people in this world what is possible and that you can go on a TV show, you can change your life, you can lose weight, you can write a damn book, even with a learning disability. You can start your own coach company, you can start your own epic weekends, you can start your own LTL show. Who cares? And if it wasn't for all of that, like being abused, going through, I went to school, doing all the things, figuring out how to survive, none of that's possible. And he just is looking over. And I want to make sure someday when I die that I can thank him for that because none of it's possible without him. None of it. I'm not sitting here without him. Like I'm just not. So, yeah.
It's a beautiful testimony. What's it like waking up one day and looking in the mirror and being 420 pounds? I mean, you can't, I don't think anybody, I don't think anybody plans on being
No,
400 pounds,
no.
right? So, like, was there a moment where you looked at yourself and you're sweating, getting out of bed, huffing and puffing, looking in the mirror, just going, dude, like, something's got to give?
Um, it's so weird. That's where I always say that I was a little bit different. I think with coming up with where I was just trying to survive. So I didn't think of necessarily my weight of like
Wasn't an issue at
wasn't an
all.
issue. Yeah, just like, dude, if I can make it through today and I can pay the bill and we can keep a hot water on or something like this on right now, let's just worry about that. Like, let's do this, and that's it. And that's what I would worry about. I didn't ever think like I never was, I don't know why I never was like, if I don't get this under control, I'm going to die. Like my friends would say that to me every now and then, but I just was like, I'm just trying to survive, dude. Like, so that's what I was trying to do, and that's literally what it was. I mean, I wasn't, and if I had lived another day, I was happy. I was happy. At least I thought I was happy, right? Like, doing everything I've done now, it's like I didn't realize what happiness really could be.
Yeah.
So,
And this whole journey that you've gone through, or you so, I guess, passionately recognize God's hand, was there a person that was also there to help inspire you and lift you and encourage you to become the man that you are today?
oh yeah, there's numerous people. He put people in my life of coaches first, my football coaches, athletic coaches, to get me to a point, right? And then obviously it was like, okay, so here's the first point: the coaches get me through the next 10 years after I
Yeah.
graduated, after I didn't
The
complete
next
my.
10 years, they stayed in your life that long.
Oh yeah, they're still in my life, still in my
Wow.
life. And then obviously like I struggled because right after high school and all my friends left, that was my big support. Then they all started going their mission. So I was like lost. And then they kind of stepped in. And then obviously I had my suicidal attempt. And then over the 10 years, though, they were in my life. And and then boom, obviously I get selected for extreme weight loss. Then a whole nother world comes into my life. Like, because obviously these guys changed it to a whole nother level that people, my friends and everyone couldn't. And I'm so grateful for them. I'd run through a damn wall for any of them. But it's not only Chris and Heidi being on the show, but it was the producers behind the scenes. It was my cast members that literally showed more belief, more love to me than anybody. Our dear friend Rod. So to give a little insight, I was a liability. So ABC was freaking out because they thought maybe I was like, because of my suicide attempt. And I'm the only guy, and Heidi would tell you this, I'm the only guy that went in there and I was like, I'm done. I want to change my life completely. So they gave us a psych test. Well, I guess I'm the only one that failed the psych test. How you fail a psych test? Well, just say you think about suicide all the time. You're going to fail.
Yeah.
So they were like, this guy's a flight risk and da-da-da-da-da. And I guess Heidi and Chris were like, you asked him to be honest. And he's the only one that literally been honest. You can't tell us all those other people that are in here obese and coming from there don't think the same thing, which is true. We all know this, right? And so then I got casted, right? And so they said JD Roth, the creator of the show and everything else, is going to show up. And if he doesn't like you, he's cutting you. And da-da-da, he'll lay it on you thick, tell you straight up what's going on. So we're all kind of nervous. We're like, gosh, JD Roth's coming. We all need to be ready. So he walks into the casting week and, and he gives his speech and everything else. And I'm standing over here to the side and I'm like, why does he keep looking over at me? And I'm like, this guy, dude, I'm going home. Like, I was like, I'm going home. Like, no one's going to be, he keeps staring at me. He's going to tell me why am I here? And he literally looks at me and then out of nowhere in his speech, he looks over and he goes, do you even know why you're here, Bruce? And I'm like, oh, this is it. They're cutting me right now. And he goes, I owned this company card and was the only one that wanted you here. Because at that time, everybody said it was a flight risk. And he was the one guy that stood up in that moment and said, let's give him a shot. Let's see what happens. Because these same people that pick for Biggest Loser and everything, they came and told me, dude, you don't get opportunities like this. We don't know why you're here. Because usually when we say 7 times no to Biggest Loser and 3 times to extreme weight loss, you don't want to lose weight because obviously you can't cut it. And in a moment like that, from where I came from, of a person of his stature that's created a show, that's just an executive producer, like beyond belief, everyone knows who he is, and not know me just from a 10-minute video, say, you know what, I believe in this guy. I believe in him. Something about him. And we went out on the field and we did this workout, and I had the worst plantar fasciitis. I could barely walk, but I was not going to be denied this opportunity. And I was running up and down the hill, and I pointed at JD and I told him, I said, JD, you just made the best investment in your entire life. I said, I will finish this. So obviously, make a long story short, I got casted, for extreme weight loss. It was a slower process than the normal. I had to go through all these therapy sessions. I had to do all this stuff. It was crazy. But I'm so blessed that I did because it made me fix so many problems.
It helped, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like going back to what you said, my castmates in Rod, because I almost didn't get picked. And they sent me out there to be the motivator. So they sent me to Colorado without even knowing if I was going to be on the show. But they were like, we want you to set the precedent. Because in finals weeks and that, I was, not to like say anything in an arrogant way, but just picking everybody up, bringing everybody along, leading in the front of the workouts as much as I can. And Rod Durham, rest in peace, he passed away, but he was on our season. He wrote an email, probably changed my life. But before that, and then Chris and Heidi sent it to me that night, and they go, hey, you need to know how loved you are. Rod wrote an email just saying to the producers and everyone, you better pick this guy. This is our leader of our entire season. This is the guy that gets us to the top. This is the guy, when he's done with the workout, he comes back and pushes every single one of us forward to finish it. And he said, doesn't leave any of us behind. And so I saw that, and I mean, obviously it's a game changer for me. Coming from where I came, just wondering, I mean, I keep going back to that, right? That approval, to being good enough and everything else. And it finally was starting to show me that I am good enough, just who I am, just showing up and being the best version that I can be. And it's literally helped me do what I want to do, what I do now. Like, I just want to install belief in the people that people say can't do anything. I want them to know that they can do anything that is possible, because so many individuals did that for me. And I would be doing just a disservice to them and everybody else if I didn't try to build that belief for each individual now that I come in contact with.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I was just about to say, I wonder if I grab one.
No, it's beautiful, man. I think this idea that you're talking about, belief, is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And I think one of the ways that we as humans develop belief is when others instill belief in us, right? When others tell us you can do it, you can do more.
Yeah.
And, as a father, we think about this a lot, right? It's how do we instill that belief in our children that anything is possible, and that you can pursue your dreams and you can do hard things. And so I love that message so much. And by the way, if your cup is full and it's spilling over with belief, then don't let it hit the ground. Take it and give it to somebody else, right? It doesn't require you anything. It doesn't cost you any money. It costs you very little time to take that excess and to pour it into somebody else and say, you've got this. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I think belief is the most powerful thing in the human race. I think it's once you can get that into an individual, or you can get that into yourself, you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
There's nothing that, I mean, it sounds so cliche. And once you believe in motivate, it is, but it is true. And without a shadow of a doubt, it is true.
Yeah. What was your mindset going through that experience around losing weight, right? Like, when you've got that big of a mountain to climb, that's gotta be debilitating in most cases. Like, dude, I'm never gonna, I can't even walk 10 steps without feeling like I'm gonna die, right?
Yeah.
So what's your mindset going into that and through that process?
So with that, it's like, it was belief, like, each and every day. So Chris and Heidi really taught us a good message of like, hey, just start with one little thing and build. And they talked about integrity, and they talked about, that doesn't mean you're perfect. It just means, like, you make a commitment, you fall off, you get back on, and you go. Right? That's what integrity is really all about. I think so many people think integrity means you got to be perfect. You're not going to ever be perfect, but it's like fixing that integrity when it happens and then jumping right back on. And then it was like, dude, like, Bruce, you can go 20 minutes on this treadmill. Okay, yeah. Let me see if I can. Okay, I did it. I mean, I know that sounds so simple, but when you're starting this journey, that's what it's about. Like, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, I'm 10 years out of this crap, and I freaking still want to eat food all day. I still am like, dude, this sucks. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I want to go dive, and I can still pound as much food as I could when I was 400 pounds. And I'm like, I was telling them, hey, celebrate the little victories. Like, if you went into a gas station and you walked out and you're freaking so proud because you didn't say no to a candy bar, like, that's amazing. Like, dude, let's go. But the problem is with social media, you can't post that. That's not going to fire anybody up. But yes, you can, because that's actually more relatable to people than, and I love David Goggins, and I love all those guys that say they run 100 miles. But wouldn't you like to see just the person that just runs a freaking mile and is like, damn, I just ran a mile. I just literally ran a mile. It took me 15 minutes, but I ran a mile, and I never thought I could do it. And then you see, then somebody else could be sitting there and being like, dude, that's what it takes? Like, look at the joy on their face, and then it builds that belief. So, like, that's what it started for us. Like, that's kind of what they did. And so you're on there and you look over to so-and-so, it's like, we did it. Dude, we did 20 minutes. We did it. Can we do it again? And then it's like, you get uncomfortable every day and you're like, let's try this now. Let's try this. And it's just like, that's how you get it going. And then you enjoy the process. Like, it sucks, but you're like, you're doing things that you never thought were possible before. And when you get into that, man, there's just like, you're unstoppable. And it's just like, I think too many people are so scared to be like, well, so-and-so looks great. Like, they don't understand, like, looking at me and seeing where I'm at now. It's like, you got to know the journey I took to get here. Don't pay attention to what I look like now. Pay attention to what the journey that I looked like. If I used to only be able to do one hill. I used to only be able to do one walk around the block. Like, I know what it's like. I used to be the guy that was like, gosh, can I make it through this thing? My back hurts. Like I
Yeah.
get what it's like to go to a restaurant and, hey, don't put us in a booth, put us on a chair. Okay. And that chair better be sturdy, like all the things. So, and celebrating little victories like that. And those little things just build belief like there's no tomorrow. And it's just a feeling that's unbelievable. So now I just try to challenge myself doing dumb stuff all the time.
So how long did this show last?
A year.
It was a year?
Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't like a 3-month
That's
deal.
why
This
extreme
is-
weight loss was the greatest thing for me. Yeah.
Because it was his Biggest Loser a year.
Yeah, it's like
as
a
well?
3-month. It's
Yeah.
a 3-month and it's a game show, right?
Yeah.
I would have gone I don't blame those people for trying.
Yeah.
If $250,000 in the line, you're going for it.
Yeah.
Like you're like going to do whatever it takes. You're not working on this and this.
Yeah.
The head and the inside.
So you go on there for a year, you go from just over 400 pounds to like under 200.
Yeah.
Right? Where did you end the show at?
Well, I'm a record breaker. Not going to say anything. Just kidding. But I ended up at 182. So I ended
And what
up
was the start weight?
on the show initially it was 300 and what was it at? 382. So I was 181 because I wanted to go over 201. But my very first initial weigh-in was 420. I had to go home and lose weight to make the show.
Oh, wow.
They sent me and were like, go show us you can do it. So I was like, oh, okay, it's on. And so I went home and just started crushing.
Dude,
So-
180 pounds. I mean, I can't even imagine what that would be like in myself. Somebody who's in pretty good shape. Like, I haven't been 180 pounds since high school.
Dude,
I
yeah.
mean, that's like.
I was a twig, dude. Yeah, like I was so small. Yeah.
What do you weigh right now?
I'm like 250,
What do you want to be?
230.
That's your fighting weight?
225, 230. I'm like ready to
Yeah.
crush anything.
So why you 250?
Because I got comfortable. I got freaking, it's so funny you say that. So literally my group that I coach, I just posted a before and after. And we literally just had a topic about this. And I said, guys, if that doesn't tell you that I freaking am in the grind with you, I don't know what does. Because the most embarrassing thing for me is to post that picture that I've gained weight. That's the most humiliating thing because everywhere I go, regardless if it's right or wrong, I'm judged by what I look like.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that, is he gaining the weight because, he's one of those other TV shows. He's going the other way. He's going to not do it. It was hard. And I showed him, look, but I've rededicated last month and look what happened in this picture.
Yeah.
And they were like, but also I think that's what separates my coaching from everybody else's is I'm just like, I'm in there with you. And I same the same struggles and I'm going to be open and honest with you guys when it's not going good and when it is going good.
Yeah.
And so, and I got comfortable. I got lazy. Because you could list all the excuses, having a kid and then this, and nobody's ever going to say that I look horrible. I mean, yeah, it's muscle, I've got muscle, no, I'm bigger than I need to be. Like, so if I want my elbows, I want my knees, I want my ankles to feel better and get your shit together. Sorry. And then,
Please.
and
No.
pull your head out of your ass and get going, like start getting back to what you know. Get up and get uncomfortable. Start waking up early when you don't want to. Start challenging yourself, like all the things. And so it's just like, look around who you're surrounding yourself with, like I started looking around and being like, okay, who's the people I'm around now? Are these people that people want to get reps or are these people that want to cut reps, like who's my community? Who's the people, like what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And so, all the things, and you just go back to the basics and you get going. So I'm on a mission. So I went and signed up for a half marathon in December. I got a CrossFit competition tomorrow. I'm going to go whoop some ass. And then I'm going to do 4x48. And I'm currently on 75 hard. So all
Let's
the
go.
things. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't have to say it for you. You went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I knew this wasn't your fighting weight. I feel it with you. Like
Yeah.
I know your fighting weight is not this.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
go do it.
Yeah.
You've got to for you more than anything.
Yeah, exactly.
We again back to chronological order because we don't do it this way. We're gonna go back now. By the way, you won that show, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, if they did do a winning, they would have.
Yeah,
Yeah, I won an award, so that was good, like in the academy. So that's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Touch on that one more subject about my actual weight. You know what's so funny is I almost was like, dude, I shouldn't go into the podcast because like I'm not where I need to be. And like that was like what was in my mind, just to like completely share, just like, like I'm not my fighting weight, right? Like here I am gonna spit out some motivation or whatever else, but I'm not where I need to be, And it was like it was hard to like say like, you know what, I'm good, but go in there and share where I'm at right now.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I'm glad you did.
yeah,
Thank you. We're gonna rewind the audience to high school, sophomore year. This thing happens where your dad gets caught for sexual abuse of many minors, including yourself. Goes to prison. You are in survival mode for the rest of your high school life, essentially. You graduate high school and you hit the rock bottom of all rock bottoms. I mean, you thought 420 pounds was bad.
yeah,
Probably wasn't nearly what you were experiencing at this time. So, can you describe the events of the day in 2022? You're 19 years old and you wake up that morning and you decide maybe that's going to be your last day. What happens on that day?
yeah. So crazy day. So in the meantime that my dad was in prison, our family went and saw him all the time, believe it or not. So we were going up there, and I was supposed to go on a Mormon mission. And the Mormon mission, for people that don't know, 2 years. Um, I don't know how to describe it best, but 2 years, you go to somewhere, you spend 2 years, da 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 da, and you preach about the gospel. So I was supposed to go on a Mormon mission and got my mission call. I went to the MTC, ready to roll. I hadn't come out with my dad's stuff yet that I was sexually abused from him. I was still keeping it in.
Oh, I still didn't know.
Still, yeah. So
Wow.
still wasn't out there yet. So I went in and I just thought like, okay, we're gonna be able to muster like this out. That's not happening
Tough it
there.
out. Yeah.
No, you're not toughing that out in that thing. And God obviously had a plan. And so I was like, dude, okay, I'm out of here. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. First of all, there's a couple things like I am very faithful, but also I'm not very good in the classroom. So I said, if I hear one more thing about the gospel, I'm gonna throw a chair through the window. It was just like, geez, dude, this is so overwhelming. So if you went on more mission, you'll know what I'm talking about. But in the MTC, it's like boom, study, boom, and I'm not a good guy with that. So I was like, ah. So I was just like, geez, dude. So I was telling people that. So that probably didn't help my matters. And they're like, dude, you can make it. And so I was like, dude, I can't make it. This is stressing me out. So I go in, they take me through these little procedures. They call my mom. She comes to the MTC. This guy's sitting there and he's like, people that are going from their missions aren't successful usually. And like they end up getting depressed and into drugs. And my mom had a brother that's what happened to him. And she's sitting there like, yeah, da 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 da, and saying the same thing. And then goes, you can end up, and then he has the nerve to say you can end up where your dad is by going home. And that just struck a chord, right, with me, like whatever. And my mom's just sitting there like, yeah, that's gonna be it. So I get in the car and it's horrible at home. And I'm like, I don't even know where to go. So then I start bouncing around just houses of different people's houses, just staying there. And so about a week out of time of this, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go see my dad. If anybody's gonna understand this is gonna be my dad. So I'll get in this truck. I drive up to the prison. It's not fun driving up to prison. You got to go through all this stuff, and they look at you like, "What are you doing here, visiting a pedophile?" And all the stuff. And so we get in there. We sit on this table. He's like shocked because he thought I should be like on the mission. He doesn't know that I came home early, and so he's sitting there at the table, and he's just like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm just like, "Dad, I just couldn't do it anymore." Da da da. And then he goes, "Well, I'm going to be in here forever because now the family's not going to receive the blessings of you being on a mission. So I'm going to be stuck here now." So that boom, like here's my dad. The beginning of this that I was talking about approval, loving him, still loved him to this time, wanted to still be the best that I could be. I've completely just failed everything, right? And I came home. Another person at the church told me I told my son not to come home unless in a body bag. I mean, the pressure of a Mormon mission has changed a lot now, but back in the day, in Utah. If you're listening to this, you know what I'm talking about. And so I was just like, holy crap, dude. I'm like, I'm a failure. Like, that's all I'm thinking about is like, and so I went and found the biggest bottle of booze that I could find. I found a fifth of Jack Daniels, actually, drank it as fast as I could. And then I got a belt and I hooked it up to a hammock hook and I put that belt around my neck and I got up on that thing and it freaking, I mean, obviously I was overweight, thank goodness, and it broke. The belt broke. And then so I came back down to this earth and that's when God stepped in, obviously had a major, major plan. And he was like, not yet, buddy. I don't want to see you. I don't want to have you up here eating everything right now, but let's just slow it down. And so he sent me to the psych ward for 2 weeks. That's why I say God sent me to the psych ward for 2 weeks to meet the best people in the world, and have conversations with people, have serious therapy. And then I remember my football coach came in so fired up. He comes in and he just lets me have it. Like, what the were you thinking? And I was like, Coach, he's like, I mean this in the best way. I love you and you can't be, and then he's like, what do we need to do? And he just poured love when he came and visited, because it's weird, because when you're in the psych ward, it's visiting hours, 7 to 8. Like, they watch people. You have to be watched getting shaved. You have to watch like the shower area is like all plastic. Like, it's an experience, man. It wakes you up. You're like, okay, you want to live a life like this? You're going to be literally when they say a padded room, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so that was the experience. And I remember my last day with my therapist. He goes, all right, Bruce, what are you going to do? And he goes, you can either go out there and play the poor me card, let people know what happened, and they'll hand me the card all day, right? I was sexually abused by my dad. I'll get the card everywhere I go. Like, yeah, sorry. Or you can not let him have power over you, take control of your life, and you can go live life to the fullest. And so I got out there and I lived by a quote that I live by is, you don't inherit your attitude, you choose your attitude. And that day forward, I started to just choose my attitude. But the only thing that was lacking was obviously the fitness side of it, the weight side of it. And I started to live and not be this angry kid anymore, not starting fights anymore, not knowing where I'm going to go anymore, and get better and better, and just really start pumping energy. And the only missing link, obviously, was it took 10 freaking years, but it was extreme weight loss and learning those other things. But yeah, that point was probably the lowest point of my entire life. I remember sitting there just like, dude, I literally should not be here. After my dad said that and stuff, I just remember driving home, crying, and just like, this is it. This is it.
Man, what a story. I mean, you've been through a lot, obviously. And you've triumphed over a lot too. Like being sexually abused, survival mode, your father going to prison, losing over 200 pounds. I mean, failed suicide attempt. I mean, dude, you've been through a lot. You've been through a lot more than most will ever go through, for sure. But you stand here today in a really good place.
Yeah.
15, 20 pounds heavier than you want to be. Who cares at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
When you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it's like, okay,
I'm
give
doing
yourself
all right.
some grace.
Yeah. I don't miss the gym ever. I just got to clean up that diet, so stay away from crumble.
What's the guilty pleasure for you?
Oh man, I love like salty, I love like pizza, good burger, geez. You just open a can of food addicts. Like, you think you have your basics and you're like, oh, I love chips, burgers, pizza,
All of it.
Mexican. Yeah. It's just like, oh, all the cravings, yeah, I love it, man. I can just, I can just go to town and it's fun. It's still fun. That's what I want people to know is like, when you do get on this journey, it's like, it's not forever. Like, you can still go have a time, figure out what your trigger foods are. Yeah. When you figure out those trigger foods, those are the ones you got to stay away from. It's not the end all be all. You can still enjoy, just be ready to work it off and you're going to be good.
Yeah.
I go to the gym so I can eat.
Yeah.
Like, and that's okay. A
Yeah.
lot of people are like, build that relationship with food. Man, when you're a severe food addict and you're over 400 pounds, you're never building the relationship.
Yeah.
It's never going to be like, "Ah, I've got this figured out." It's just not happening.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because that's my card, right? We all have our card. We all have our things that are our problems. And mine's loving food and having a problem with it. It's not alcohol. It's not drugs. It's not pornography, all the things. Like, mine is food. And so that's the card I've been dealt, and that's what I got to deal with. I got both my legs, got both my arms. Great. You know?
Bruce, do you have kids?
Yeah, I got a 3-year-old
Boy or girl?
boy.
What do you want your son to remember you by?
Oh, man. I want him to know that he had, without a shadow of doubt, the greatest dad that loved him more than anything in this world. And that he knew somebody that would get up every single day and chase his dreams and give it everything he's got. And that he knows his dad loved him more than anything and would do anything for him. And there's not a bad thing that he could do for me to not love him. Ever. Ever. I love that kid. That is my mission, without a doubt. Like, it's to help change people's belief, but also coming where I came from, my dad wanting that love, that kid is never going to have to ever think twice if his dad cares about him or if he's good enough, ever.
Beautiful.
He was doing wall walks yesterday.
So here's how I want to wrap. I like to do this at the end of the episode. So I want you to look into the camera over my right shoulder, your camera, and I want you to. Normally, it's clear what message I want my guest to say. For you, there's like 4, but I'm gonna choose one. Okay.
Yeah.
You talked about survival mode, and there's been many times in your life that you developed a real relationship with survival mode. So there are a lot of people out there listening and watching right now who are just trying to survive. So what advice and encouragement would you share to those people?
For survival mode, just survive is just an old slogan that I say is grab a towel. And where that story came from is one time I was doing this boot camp thing. We had to help people lose weight. I had to go get my workout in. I went and got my workout. I needed to shower real quick. And I forgot my towel. And so I was like, what am I going to do? So I went and looked in the lost and found, and I found a towel. And I grabbed the towel from the lost and found. Probably not the best hygiene thing to do after you're done showering. But I used this towel, and my friend came and picked me up, and he said, hey, your towel was in here, you forgot, and how did you going to get cleaned up? I was like, oh, I just grabbed one from the lost and found. And he just started laughing, and he literally said, that epitomizes your life. Like, that's who you are. You just grab a towel in any situation. Don't let it stop you. Don't let it get you down. And that's what it is like, even if you're in survival mode, each day that you get up, each day that you move forward is each day that you're getting closer and closer to surviving. That's what I would say.
Amen. Bruce, thanks for coming on the roller coaster today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
That's
Appreciate
a wrap.
it.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man.